Hello, everyone. I just want to do a quick video reviewing the review questions for Charles Hartshorne's Time, Death, and Eternal Life. Really a fascinating essay. I hope that you got something out of it. This essay and Jonas's are really meant to be a follow-up to the last section of the course, where you get these very full-blown arguments for immortality, for the immortality of the person or the soul, or wherever we want to put it, which is extremely difficult philosophical task to prove something like that. I say that these two essays are a follow-up because they are much more moderate, diminished notions of an afterlife. As we'll see, Hartshorne believes that there is something, there's a permanence to the human person. But that is not the kind of thing that should be confused with like a full-blown afterlife, which I think he doesn't believe is possible. Okay, so Hartshorne says that the referent of George Washington and the referent of nothing are not the same. What does this prove in his opinion? Of course, referent is just whatever in the world is being referred to by the word or expression, by the name George Washington or by the word nothing. I think that what this proves, or what Hartshorne claims that it proves, is that George Washington is not nothing. That is, that the referent of the name George Washington is somewhat puzzling, but it's not nothing. That is, that, and if George Washington, who of course is dead, is not nothing, then he must be something. So that really leads to the question, the second question: do the dead still exist? In Hartshorne's opinion, I think the answer to that is yes. Although there is some terminological confusion in Hartshorne's essay between existence and being something, but I don't want to split hairs there. I think that the answer to that is clearly that they still exist in some way, that they, in the sense that they still are something, that they're not nothing. I think that, again, this class is really meant to get a conversation going between these different philosophers. So one thing that we can say is that Hartshorne is not an annihilationist like Epicurus. He does not think that the person becomes nothing at death. That Hartshorne believes that once something is, it can't not be. There's no, once something comes into existence, it can't literally go out of existence. It must still be something. But what kind of something? That leads to question number 3. Describe Hartshorne's conception of our existence after death. Well, of course, he uses the metaphor of the book of life, book of one's life, that we still exist insofar as all of our experiences are in some way preserved in some form, that although our experiences are past, and we are past in a way, the entire experience of the person remains. And of course, this necessitates the existence of some kind of God, because he's certainly not talking about social immortality. He's not talking about being remembered by other people. He's talking about being remembered by God in the fullness of one's existence. Even in the private subjective experiences we have are all part of the record of reality, and therefore, in a certain way, in the mind of God. So his conception of our existence after death is as a completed book, and that book is the book of our lives, which contains all of our experiences, everything we ever went through or experienced in our lives. But crucially, death is the last page. That is, it's very important to understand in Hartshorne's conception. We continue to exist, but we have no new experiences. So there's no eternal life in the sense of unending new experiences or experiences of any sort. I would say that Hartshorne would say that we don't become nothing at death, and therefore would disagree with Epicurus, but he would agree with Epicurus that there is no experience of any sort after death. Number 4, of course, is an open-ended question. Do you find Hartshorne's account of immortality satisfying? Why or why not? And that really is meant to ask whether you think that Hartshorne's diminished, more moderate account of so called life after death is really satisfying. And I am asking you, I'm implying, I'm suggesting there, or that you compare his account of immortality with that of Plato and Paul Landsberg. It is a more moderate account because it doesn't say, it doesn't claim that we have any continuing experience after death, which I think is absolutely crucial to Plato and Landsberg. Um, is that a deal breaker? Is that something that is a big flaw in Hartshorne's account, or do you think that that's okay? I mean, I'm just asking you basically, what do you think the whole book of one's life notion of life after death, the completed book, is actually a satisfying, and I'm certainly open ended in what I mean by satisfying, is a satisfying account of immortality.